6 weeks ago, I started singing lessons, and I have no intention of learning how to sing. And since then, I've done 1 lesson per week. And even though I have no intention of learning how to sing, these had such a profound benefit on my communication, which is the whole reason that I started these in the first place. Now, my mentors, not 1, not 2, but 3 of them all recommended singing lessons. They all had a phase in their initial stages of their career where they did singing lessons to improve their communication skills, because the best speakers can change their pitch, their tonality, their rhythm, their pace efficiently. And singing helps improve how you do so. Also, speakers and singers, they're very similar. But the difference between singing and speaking is how you project your voice. I see singing as speaking on steroids. And don't you think it's a strange correlation? When you see the best singers, they're normally quite engaging when it comes to interviews. Why? Because they can play with their voice, because they have trained playing with their voice. That's the 2 reasons why I started singing lessons. Number 1 is my mentors recommended it. Number 2 is when I looked into singing, all the singers that I looked into were engaging when it came to interviews. I see speaking as a BTEC version. If you don't know what a BTEC is, it is what you do after year 11 in school. So when you are 16 to 18, you can either do A-levels or you can do a BTEC. A-levels is the one that the clever people do. That's what they say. And you get tested at the end of the year, or the first year and the second year. You have to learn all the content and then you get tested. At BTEC, however, you do coursework throughout the year. There's no exam. You're just getting tested throughout, but when you do the coursework, you then get it back and you can do it again. At BTEC, you are getting a distinction star, distinction, merit, or a pass. And then on the A-level side, you're getting A star, A, B, C, D, and so forth. But I see speaking as the BTEC version of singing. So if I can learn the ins and outs of singing and find out all the underlying concepts behind singing and why they use them, speaking, that'll be easy. When I need to do a really high note when I'm speaking, it's a lot easier because I've drilled it within the singing. So they're the reasons why I started singing. And there are also some reasons why you could start singing if you wished. All right, what's it consist of? My first session, I get in at 2 o'clock to Burley. And if you were stood at the bus stop at 2 o'clock, you would have seen me walk off with some stains. Some stains. I was wearing a grey t-shirt. You know what a grey t-shirt and a sweaty boy looks like? A sweaty man, should I say. Not good. Not good. Imagine you were in your driving lessons. You know your driving lessons where your hands are on the steering wheel, you can just feel it sweating. You turn in the wheel, but your hands are slipping off the wheel because you're that sweaty. And then your pits, your pits. It's like a swimming pool under there. Yeah, that's what it looked like whilst I was getting off the bus because I was that nervous. I had to walk 2 miles to get to the studio. Once I got to the studio, she invited me in. I'm sat there thinking, oh God, what is this? What am I doing here? I've never been that embarrassed in the last 3 or 4 years of my life. I think that was one of the most embarrassing moments, being in a studio trying to sing in front of someone. But the first exercise we had to do, she goes, all right, we're going to start with some pitch warm-up drills to get this nice and warm. Now that's me doing it comfortably now. But 6 weeks ago, I was like this. Just because I was nervous. Then after that, we had to do a song. Jess picked Ed Sheeran. I had to sing Ed Sheeran. Ed bloody Sheeran. I'm there. I'm like, phew. If the warm-up drills were bad, you don't want to even see this. I can just feel sweat dripping down my whole body. As the lyrics come on, I'm like, white lips, pale face. Oh, It was awful, but we went through a song. Then after we went through a song, because my purpose was speaking and the techniques that we use, we then tried to utilize them in a speaking sort of environment. That was my first session. It was kind of a taster before I then booked the next block of sessions. I just got one to try it out. And singing lessons, you'll get your warm up. You probably start with like a song, and then after that, if you're doing it for speaking, you could try and use those techniques for speaking purposes, or you can carry on doing some more exercises for your vocal cords and building that strength within that muscle. So one thing that you're going to get, if you've never done any sort of singing, is embarrassment. The other thing you're going to get is an understanding of how the voice is used and the foundations of how to use your voice. And you will start to understand that your voice truly is an instrument. You are not born with your voice. People think they are born with their voice. But the voice that you have right now, if you speak right now at your phone or your laptop as you watch this and just say your name, that voice that you can hear, that is your habitual voice. It was created by the habits and the environment around you. If you went to go live in Liverpool for the next 10 years, you're going to turn into a Scouser. You're going to have a Scouse accent. And you think you're stuck with your voice. If you go live in Australia, you'll have an Australian accent. You'll be saying "cunt" all the time. Fuck yeah, cunt. Your environment is what builds your habitual voice. And you think that is your default voice, but it's not. It's your habitual voice. And what singing lessons will teach you is that is trainable. It's trainable to expand your voice, to be able to be more resonant, to be able to vary your pitch, vary your tonality more. And it doesn't take a lot of lessons. It doesn't, not at all. But it doesn't take a lot of lessons if you do this one little trick. And this one little trick is being aware. You need to be aware of all the techniques you are being taught, and you be aware by asking more questions. You have to reflect on your session. Whenever the teacher asked me or showed me a new technique, I would ask questions about it. I'd write little notes in my phone. I was being aware because I wanted to know how I could use that from singing into my communication, because I didn't give a crap about the singing, not one bit. That little bit of embarrassment was something I had to overcome in order to get to where I want to get to. That little bit of fear that I got from going to these lessons, so be it. It's something that I had to overcome, but I wanted to learn how to use this. Because if I want to be a professional speaker, if I want to coach people, if I want to be able to use my voice in a more efficient manner, I need to understand how it works. Now, do you need them? Because I've literally told you I've started singing lessons so you don't have to. Do you need them? You don't need them. But do I recommend doing some? Yes. If you want to become a better communicator, I do recommend doing 5 lessons. You don't need to do lessons for years and years and years. You need to understand the underlying concepts and foundations of how your voice works. It's like when I'm teaching MMA. People hit the bag and they look dreadful. If they've never done any MMA before, they look absolutely dreadful. They're falling over their toes. They don't know how to move. They don't know how to stand. I give them a few sessions on how to stand, how to move, how to throw straight punches, how to throw hooks, how to throw kicks, knees, elbows, like push kicks, keeping the distance. I've just taught them the foundations. Then you see them hit the bag. They're a lot better. But that's not the amazing thing. The amazing thing is 2 months later, you see them hitting the bag. And their performance has gone from down here all the way up here. And I've not taught them anything new. I've not done any more sessions with them. And the reason they were able to go from down here to up here is because I taught them the foundations. I taught them how to stand, how to throw punches, kicks, knees, elbows, everything they needed to know in order to take the next step. So that's why I recommend 5 lessons. Find out what you need to know. But within those 5 lessons, you need to be reflective all the time. Whenever you hear a new technique or you get shown a new technique, you need to ask questions, write notes. So then you can utilize this learning. Because by utilizing this learning, you are going to build a routine. You can call it a warm-up routine, you can call it an actual session. For me, it's a warm-up routine. I do pitch drills. I do that for 10 minutes. I then do a siren drill. I do an E2O drill. All of this is making my vocal cords, my larynx, stronger. It is training this muscle. And it's by training this muscle, I will become more efficient in my communication and I will be able to deliver in a coherent and consumable manner that engages the audience. But even though I recommend doing this, you don't need them. If you want to still improve your voice and make this nice and strong and strengthen up your vocal cords, you can just type in warm-up singing lessons, pitch drills. That's it. That's literally what I've taken away from my singing lessons. I've learned more about falsetto and resonant and where to place your voice. But the main thing about these singing lessons is to strengthen up your voice so you can create variety in your speech, which makes your speech more consumable to the audience because they will engage more closely. And that is why I recommend singing lessons. You don't need them, but I recommend you do 5. But because I've done singing lessons for the last 6 weeks, and I've given you the information you need to know, you don't actually need to do them. But I still recommend you do. And if you want to become confident in your communication, get some tools that you can utilize to create more opportunities and never leave them on the table. Engage with more people, create more connections, not feel anxious when it's your time to speak, don't ramble on, have frameworks when it's your time to speak. When anyone asks you a question, link below, the first link below, the only link below, sorry. Put your email in and I will send them across. That is completely free. And if you enjoyed this video, YouTube is a smart individual. Check out this video because you most likely will like this too. Adios, amigos.